and generally, have a strong oxidizer and a fuel, and they'll give off a colored light. There'll be little pellets of that. Now let's say you got a 3-inch ball shell, more Class C type stuff, you guys, a 1 3/4 inch little can shell. Those little pellets are on the outside edge, and on the inside is a brake charge, and when it explodes, it lights them and throws them out, and you get that big, huge star effect.
Glitter.
The peony.
The stuff that gives you the color.
That gives you the color and leaves all the streaming sparks behind. And that's what we're making, is we're making the little pellets. So, now I got this idea for my wife, because she's sitting there spritzing her hair while she's doing it. But what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get these wet.
Nice and even.
And the trick is, and it's something you get a feel for, I'll occasionally spray solvent and even comp on the side of the drum. So now if I spray some on the drum, I say, oh geez, what's happened? Now I've got the thing kind of tumbling around. Well, that might be a problem, but I could just do this. And this is something I haven't seen in a lot of examples, is people just say, just get your hand in there. Most people would say, oh geez, don't touch them, you're going to break them up, they're too small, no, they're actually not anywhere near that fragile. I got to grab a spoon here, I'm going to step in front of you. Sure. Let's see what we got. I might have a little, let's see if we've got a little bit of, I'm not getting a whole lot to stick to them. Thought I got them a little wet. And this is the hardest part, getting them started. I get them up to 1/8 of an inch, they'll take off like a shot. But the trick is to get, and you'll see what I'm doing is, I'm tending to hit the bowl a little bit. That's causing them to bounce.
So each one of those starts gathering up the material,
yeah,
and keeps getting bigger and bigger. And the bird seed stuff is just a binding, or just
that's just something to start.
Now
a lot of people will use heavier stuff. In the olden days, people would use lead shot, not so environmentally friendly, but
and it's expensive now.
And expensive now, because actually I think a lot of times the prices are a little artificial. Now I got some size variation here, but we're going to work on that. That doesn't concern me at this particular juncture. So really, what you're trying to do is a statistical process. And that's the way I treat it, is if you're going to put a bunch of millet in there and you're going to say, I want every one of these to come out exactly the same size, first of all, you're going to be there all damn night. And second of all, there's a way to fix them if they're not all the same size. But you know what? If you save yourself some time, and if the composition's not particularly expensive, just take the ones that are not really sized right and just throw them out. Just burn them.
Do a big sifter.
Well, yeah. See, if you look, check that box over there. There's these wood frames in there, and I've got some really coarse screens in it. And what I use those for is I shake them out, and we size them. And then you take the big ones, you throw them on a tray, and take the small ones, throw them back, and grow them up a little bit more. And then you bring the whole thing back together.
Right.
That's half. That's 2 mesh. Roughly half. It'll be a little bit less. It'll be like 7/16. So yeah, we're gonna really power these up. Let's see if we. In about 2 or 3 minutes, it'll pick all that up. Mm-hmm. They're wetter than they look. They look like they're dry, but they're not. And you know what? That's the problem with this test comp. It's not black. If it was black, when you put loose powder on them, they turn gray. And then when the water comes to the surface, they become darker black. And that's how you modulate how much water you're putting on them. And Ray would say, he goes, now what I want you to do is, you have them all, and they're all looking nice dark black, and throw a couple of tablespoons of powder in there. Because then it'd roll around. He goes, now you think you want to wet it. He goes, don't. Wait a minute. He goes, slowly they all turn black. He goes, you got to give time for the process to actually work. The other thing, I guess, if I had one other piece of advice for people is, when you start out, and I was a victim of this for years and years, because chemicals are so expensive, I tend to roll a batch of stars 400 grams. Man, that's a lot of work. Better to go 4,000 grams. It's much faster. You've got more you can work with when you're done, because you can size them and then pick just the ones you want. So like I said, if you're starting out, try to use your cheaper compositions and roll bigger batches. Use more cores.